years, and there were some men that stepped forth, and there were some very, very selfless men that said, we'll be willing to take a leg of the trip. And it's said that those who rode the sled, they suffered broken bones and frostbite and broken ribs and sleds overturned in frozen water. But the fact of the matter is there was a goal, and there were some children that needed medicine. And may we be reminded this morning that there is a world of children out there that need Jesus Christ. They won't find the answers in the education of America. They're going to find the answer in Jesus Christ. They need us to take the gospel to them. And it was set to start, and they began to run this little thing, and they came to the second to the last stop, and a man by the name of Gunnar Mason got onto the sled. And he was to run the second to the last leg, and he got on the sled, and this history records his events. You can find it in public record. And he came to the checkpoint where he was supposed to get off, and somebody else was supposed to get on. And when he came into the little village, everybody was asleep. There was no man to step on the sled and take his spot. There were no dogs lined up to pull the sled. There was nothing there. It was a quiet community. There was nobody even awake. Gunnar Mason said in his mind and in his heart, he said, if those children are going to get this medicine, it's on me. He started the second leg of his journey. History records that he went across frozen rivers, and he suffered tremendous personal loss. But it is said that on the morning of the next day, he came into the little village of Nome, and he had the medicine, and he gave it to those people. It stopped the death. He was made a hero. He's actually recorded in our history books. Gunnar Mason was the first person to receive the Civilian Congressional Medal of Honor for his heroic event. And they asked him, they said, Mr. Mason, how in the world did you do 2 legs of that trip? The snow was so blinding that he couldn't even see the dogs. The sled is only 9 feet long. The conditions were so bad, he couldn't even hear the dogs run. And the fact of the matter is he decided that if something was going to happen, it was on him. And he said, I'm going to run the second mile. We need some Christians that will stand in the event and say, listen, if there's a cross to carry, I'm going to carry the cross. If there's a need, I'm going to give what's needed. We're going to need a generation of Christians that say, I'm a second mile Christian. I'll do whatever it takes to run the second mile. The Lord, the Bible says here, He compels us to run the second mile. They asked him, how in the world did he run the second leg of his journey? And as the tears welled up in his eyes and he began to cry, he said, I have grandchildren that live in that village. I wonder how many people, us included, live on a street that we've never taken the gospel across the street. How many times we've sat at a meeting at work and we don't know whether our co-workers are going to die or go to heaven. How many times we've missed an opportunity and we could have gone the second mile. We need a generation that says, listen, if there is something that I can do in this generation for the Lord, I want to be the one. You know what's going to happen? You'll probably have to change your plans. You'll probably have to change some possessions. But your purpose ought to be to live a life as a second mile Christian. Several years ago, a man came into my life. His name was Carlos Demarest. Carlos Demarest was a tremendous Christian. One of the sweetest missionaries from Mexico you would ever meet. I grew up in El Paso, Texas, about 20 minutes from the Mexico border. We'd go over to Mexico, and Carlos Demarest loved Mexico. We'd be driving down the road, and he'd see a group of Mexicans. The tears would start flowing down his face. He'd say, Daniel, who's going to reach him? There's thousands of them. We drive down the Mexican highways, and there'd be thousands of rancheros. You say, Daniel, see the lights burning in the night? One day their souls are going to be exhausted, and they're going to stand before God, and they're not going to know Jesus. Get a passion and a desire. But even the second about Christian. One day a disease came to his body called Lou Gehrig's disease. He could no longer travel the highways and get the gospel. He went back to the church that he was from, and he didn't have a home to go back to. The church bought him a mobile home. He went and lived out the rest of his days in that mobile home. Couldn't walk anymore. You know what he did? He got out a pencil and paper. He began to write. Tell people about Jesus. He said when he died, there was a stack of letters on his table with gospel tracts ready to be made. Oh, he was a good example. But we have a better example. Jesus Christ. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. This week, don't look at Christianity as inconvenience. Look at it as an opportunity. You say, I can't go the second mile. Yes, you can. If you will. So go. Let's stand together this morning with heads bowed and eyes closed. Maybe you're here this morning and you say,